Hi, I'm Griffith from Surfside Wellness Center, along with Eddie Bentham. And today we're going to demonstrate a couple exercises for you using the kettlebell. The first one is called a windmill. Windmill is an excellent exercise for conditioning the glutes, the butt, and it's good because we're in a slightly different plane, we're in what we call the rotational plane. So if you have any low back problems from deadlifting, you can still get a lot of the conditioning without your SI joint being irritated. So Evie's going to show you what to do. The first thing we do when we approach the kettlebell, we always ground, make sure you're rooted into the ground. Good. So you're going to bring the kettlebell into position, press it above. Good. Now he's going to turn both his feet. Good. And we really want to exaggerate this to make sure you're in the right position. Evie, before you go, Evie, show them what not to do. Turn this leg towards me. You can turn that one up. So as he goes down, if we're not in the right position, all the force is going to be felt on the outside of the knee. Is what we call the lateral collateral ligaments. We don't want that. We want to make sure that the force is controlled by the muscles, in this case the hamstring muscles. So really make sure that both feet are at an angle pointing away from the hand that's in the air. So how Evie's going to execute the exercise first now, he's going to go down, driving his hip out, keeping the legs straight, eyes on the bell at all times, exhale, drive up. Good. And again, arm inside the thigh, working, going down, driving the hips, driving up. Good. And one more. Inhale it as he goes down, guiding down with that arm, and exhaling, driving the glutes up. Then on the way down, he controls the weight down and down. Good. So that's our first variation. That's called a windmill. And that really is about conditioning all those muscles in the glutes, especially in the rotational plane for people who might be kicking, martial artists, football players, anyone who's turning and pivoting. The next exercise we're going to do is a side press. So side press is excellent, especially if you want to condition those delts but you don't want to press overhead. The loading is still quite intense, and because now we're to the side, you're actually in a stable position when you press overhead. The setup is exactly the same. So we go into a windmill position, and from here we're going to hold that windmill position and press up, and come back down. Good. I want to show 3 reps. Can you manage 3 reps for that way? So we're going to come down into position. From here we press it up. That's 1. You're going to stay down for the next 2 reps. You're going to stay down in position, press up. 2 reps more. Last 1. And up. Now, we're going to show you a modification because you see, even with just a 12 kilogram kettlebell, that's quite challenging for even a guy as strong as Eddie. So we're going to show you a modification in case you're not as strong and you want to be a little bit more stable. So he's going to get back into that windmill position, both feet pointing over. He's going to come down into the windmill position, but then he's going to brace himself with the supporting arm just below support. Exhale, press up. And another one. Number 2. Good. One more. Good. And then back up. And down. And rest. So you notice that there's no overhead pressing. So we can still get lots of conditioning for the delt, but those individuals who have rotator cuff issues from pressing overhead can still get a lot of work without going overhead. Now we're going to take you to a more kind of dynamic movement that's going to incorporate both the windmill for the hip thrust and the hip rotation and the press overhead at the same time. This is called a screw press. Setup is the same. In the rack position, feet turn. As we drive that hip out, we're going to come over to the side and really rotate and press up. And as the arm comes down, back into position. Rep number 2, rotate, and up. Good. One more time, all the way down. Breathing, exhale, up. Absorb that weight to come down. And rest. So we got 3 variations, all including rotation at that hip to get the glutes activated without irritating your low back. We got lots of shoulder activation without going into overhead press movement. And then we got the dynamic combination of the hip thrust and the overhead press at the same time. Try the one that works for you. Start with a bell that's going to challenge you, but you can complete them successfully. Keep working, get fit.